Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Tiffany Peeler is with us from Brooke.ai, a great friend of the industry. And Tiffany, you've brought some colleagues with you today, I see.
Yeah. Hi, Ted. Thanks for having us back. Yes, we brought some innovative partners of ours that are going to be sharing with us a lot about how they've chosen to implement AI solutions in fixed operations. I'm super excited for them to share kind of their journey with AI. It's a really great story. And I think a lot of the stores that are going to be watching this session are going to be able to get some great takeaways from the two of them. So Micah Rowland and Breeanna Hodge with the Mike Rezi Group.
All right, Micah and Breeanna, welcome. Welcome to the Fixed Ops
Roundtable. Thank you for having us.
Yes.
Well, I'm already learning in the green room a little bit about the innovation, Breeanna and Micah, that you bring to the table. So I'm fascinated to learn about that. I think our topic is perfectly situated for where we are right now in the industry. A lot of talk about AI. AI is woven into our daily lives, whether we like it or not, whether we know it or not. And it's worked its way into the automotive industry, and Brooke has been leading that. So, Micah, why don't we go back and give us some color on the Mike Rezi Group, how you got involved, when you got involved with Brooke.ai.
So when I first came to Atlanta circa 4 years back, and I'll speed up to where we don't take up all the time, but effectively I came to this area to build a centralized service call center for 5 different stores. The 5th store was not yet open, but the whole idea was to take a group of people, build it up, and make sure that we could connect our customers' service for 5 locations inside of one room. And I thought I had seen it work before. I thought, man, this is going to be a super, super tall task, but I was up to the challenge. Fast forward to 2023, we ran into probably what a lot of dealers are running into in this economic climate, which is it's hard to keep people. Wages are not going up. It's tough to convince people to come in for service when service prices are constantly rising, and it's just tough to save money everywhere. So I went from looking at people who were working from a huge production side to watching it dwindle down. It was tough to keep people, like I said, and I was trying to find solutions to where we could keep our service business retained and provide customers easier options in which to book those services. And plus on the outbound side, our outbound production went from to medium to high to almost down to nothing. We were essentially becoming clerks at this point. So I was trying to find that way to free up space. You're talking to someone while they love technology. I was super adverse to AI, wasn't really interested in learning about it. I'm a super huge fan of the human touch. But after I went through enough demos with not only Brooke.ai and some of Proactive Dealer Solutions competitors, I found that the resources that Brooke.ai had were vast, and the training behind it could be used to continue to help the call center build. So I introduced Brooke.ai at our executive summit that our 5 stores hold every year last year, and all of the GMs and comptrollers and service managers was like, "You have to be crazy. Why would we do something like that?" And when I promoted the idea of saving time and giving customers an alternative, that seemed to have made it easier to do. Effectively, the way I pitched it was 40% of your customers, and any dealership listening to this can do the math, 40% of your customers are always going to book an oil change. On average, that call is probably going to take 6 minutes. We all can agree that's probably way too long. What could you do with those other 3 minutes? What can an agent do with those other 3 minutes? They could probably make 2 outbound calls, potentially book 1 appointment out of those 2 calls. I don't know. You all can do the math, but that's where I decided to start making a change. So we partnered with Brooke.ai and Proactive, and we rolled it out to our first dealership, our Hyundai store in McDonough, in January of this year. And we did a slow rollout. So we kept it going for 90 days to make sure it worked. And then after that, it was like a rocket. We did our Kia store next, then we did Miss Bree's store, and then we went on down the line, and it's been super successful.
Micah, very well said. Thank you for that background. And Breeanna, bring us up to speed, because something Micah just said about saving time. Breeanna, I think the customer's time, all of our time, is probably the most valuable asset. We used to talk about saving money, but really it's the time. There's nothing more valuable than that. Speak to that, Breeanna, and how you come in and some of the things that you've been working on there.
Yeah, so whenever we initially rolled Brooke.ai out, Micah and I teamed up with just trying to figure out how to inform customers that this change has taken place and making them acquainted with the system, because it is a little bit different. However, our customer base, along with Mike and I's ideas, really seemed to work for us. You know, we had the logos out in our customer lounges. We were very upfront with customers. We even had a few email blasts go out. Recently, we just came up with the idea of the oil change stickers that typically go up in the left-hand side of your vehicle.
Yes.
I don't know if you can see this, but we added a QR code that the customer can actually scan from the comfort of the driver's seat while they're in the parent pickup line and go
Yes,
ahead and
yes.
book with Brooke through that. And we have had so much positive feedback regarding that. And, you know, customers are more familiar with the logo. They're able to bring it up to us. We hear out the customers whenever there's any kind of, hey, I was just wanting to understand. Because 9 times out of 10, any feedback that we're getting is just a customer looking to understand the change, which is incredible.
Yeah.
Breeanna, that is clever. I like that. That's the first I've seen or heard of that. Tiffany,
Same. I know.
Yeah.
It was great. So Breeanna and Micah both, they work really closely with our dealer success team. And one of our longest dealer success managers, he kind of got a screenshot of this, got a photo of the QR code, sent it to me. And I was like, wait a second, we've got to talk to these guys. And this is really one of the main reasons I wanted to have them on the call. I think what Breeanna just said there is so important, right? It's important to train the staff and the store on the new technologies that we're adopting as a company. But sometimes we forget about educating the clients, right? Because the customers do, we as consumers in our everyday lives, we interact with AI all the time, but it's maybe not something that we're used to using when we're calling into our dealership to schedule an appointment. And so I think what this Mike Rezi team has done to recognize that all the customer wants to know is to understand how this works, because they want to be able to use it because it is convenient. And they've been able to recognize that and then really educate their customers and then find such cool ways to promote the use of the product, which is just eliminating calls from having to ring into the store and giving them back that time. I mean, they're saving, I think across the 5 stores, it's about 130 hours worth of work a month that we're saving on behalf of their locations, which again, what do you do with that 130 hours? Well, you potentially repurpose it towards outbound. So I just think that was really cool.
All right. So Tiffany, I got to ask you, are you going to nominate the Mike Rezi Group as a Fixed Ops Roundtable certified dealer? Because that alone is a very innovative best practice that we just saw and heard from Breeanna.
Yeah, we already did.
Right. Well, congratulations.
Yeah, we already did. And because of that, I mean, it was just like, no kidding. You know what I mean? It was just such a good idea that kind of all smacked us in the face. And it was just really cool to see you guys come up with something like that and really promote it. It was awesome to see.
And Breeanna, it's actionable on behalf of the customer. I could picture that in the carpool lane at the school, waiting right for the drop off, which could take some time there, and the customer can take action right now. And they've got their phone nearby, and the vehicle's already stopped, right? And they take a picture of that QR code, Breeanna, and there we go. Now we make really good use of that time.
Absolutely. And I have to say, Tiffany, your team has been nothing but supportive. Any question that we've had, you all have always been just the best support team. So thank you so much for having that for us.
Oh, good. I'm so glad to hear it. Yeah, we try really hard. I mean, we want it to be a positive experience for your customers and for your employees as well, for your teams.
So, Micah, take us through it. You started off beginning of the year with one of the dealerships. Now you've rolled. Is it in all the dealerships? And what are you seeing today?
So yes, it's in all 5. And before we even had the idea of the QR code, which obviously we partnered, I took 2 of our service managers, one from our Kia store and another from one of our Hyundai stores, to one of the Proactive Dealer Solutions master classes, where some of us revisited things that we had thought of before, and there was new ideas abound. The thing we learned the most was just communication from the BDC to the service lane. So that was the other big thing I helped promote. Our dealerships are very fortunate that we already had great communication overall between BDC and the dealerships. But the one thing that we wanted to promote the minute we started unrolling Brooke.ai or unraveling Brooke.ai and introducing it to the locations was making sure that we stayed ahead in the marketing lane. So month over month, we utilized our database, and every month, every service customer database was reintroduced to Brooke.ai month over month. So we never let them, to this day, we don't ever let them forget the message. So we took it from e-blasts to making sure that we had regular posts on our Google My Business page, our Facebook page. We even had our social media managers that are located at some of our stores make custom videos promoting that we were going to this tool and how to use the tool. And our service managers as well, now at these stores, now that we've rolled out, are trained and encouraged to coach advisors on making sure that customers either use the tool of booking online for ease or using Brooke as a way to book their appointment. So we're talking about it all the time, and customers know that this is what we recommend. If they want to talk to a live person, we coach them on how to do that too. So if they call into the store, I'll take these calls sometimes, and I coach them on how to press 1 for service. This is how you get to a real person if you don't want to talk to Brooke, or here's how easy it is to book online, including making sure that your prices for your services are online, that your shop capacities and your scheduler match what's available online, all of those different things. If we're not prepared for that type of transparency and using these items, your store will not be successful.
Breeanna, I don't think I asked you. Tell us about your role at the dealership. What do you do, and what has sparked all these innovations? Because that's really incredible.
Yeah, so my role at the dealership is the owner loyalty manager for the store. Essentially, that makes me the middle person for any customer experience, whether it be in sales, in service, within our parts department. I handle a lot of our social media interactions. And overall, I just make sure that the health of the store, employees, or for customers is going in a positive direction. We always like to try and come up with the most streamlined processes so everyone's able to get what they need from the dealership as quickly and as confidently as possible. So in speaking with Micah and bringing on Brooke, we immediately wanted to figure out how to introduce this to our customers. And it just kind of clicked with me, when your phone needs to go through an update, it says, hey, we're going to go through an update. This is going to happen. And then after it's updated, it gives you a synopsis of what has occurred and how to handle your phone from here on out. And that's how we wanted to roll it out to our customers. So we teamed up, we came out with flyers. We've had the Brooke logo everywhere in our dealership. And actually forgot to mention on our repair orders on the bottom line where we're thanking them for their business, we have added in, hey, Brooke is live now at this phone number. If you need to call here, just the entire process, just making our customers acquainted. So overall, it has helped the health of the store.
Tiffany, I think these two are going to be up for a best practice award after this event as well.
I know, right?
That's it, right?
It's so funny because I was literally thinking the exact same thing when you just said that. So we're on the same page there, Ted.
So our event,
our common sense approach to how they've implemented it. You know what I mean? So it's been very cool to see.
Our viewers who watched the event, Mike and Breeanna, get to vote for of all the speakers over these 4 days, of which there are a lot. They get to vote for the best practices, and they get to vote for that. So
Cool.
Everybody, you'll see our QR code coming up where you can vote. Okay, for this week's best practices. So keep Breeanna and Micah in mind, and Tiffany as well. Tiffany's won in the past also. Tiffany, this really has to be a textbook case for Brooke.ai.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Their rollout has been thoughtful and stair-stepped, which I appreciate. From a customer support standpoint, we want our stores to have a exceptional experience as they roll out a new solution that, to Micah's point, sometimes they're a little anxious about, right? Yeah. I mean, it's AI, it's voice AI. This is a little scary. Are our customers going to like it? We're in, a suburb of Atlanta, in the South. Are they going to want to interact with something like this? So I think that they did it the right way. They rolled it out at one store. They maybe worked out whatever kinks. They rolled it out at the other stores. And with Bree's help, have implemented these simple but still innovative ways to educate the customer on how to use it and when to use it. And I think it's a textbook case. I'd like to understand from the two of you, now that we've taken this call, because their performance has been exceptional in the platform.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have a very high appointment set rate across all 5 stores. I mean, things are going well. What has that resulted in? So that saved time. I think the initial goal was to put that back outbound. Have you guys been able to do that?
So in the call center, I can speak to that. And I can let Bree speak to what happens at her store at her level. But at our store, we've been able to, in our call center rather, we've been able to see a growth in outbound production. It's not to the point where it needs to be yet, but I can tell you just from implementing this change and pushing this change, we've seen a great increase in outbound work, specifically from the customer service touches. We have a process in place where it's actually just a job for one person. This is all they do, or a few people inside of the call center. All they do is they follow up for customer service feedback on closed customer ROs. So we were not able to do that before with the amount of calls that we were getting, the amount of hold times we had, the amount of voicemails we had to return. Now we have agents dedicated to just collect customer feedback, so someone in Bree's position can actually address that feedback before a bad CSI score or bad review comes, so we can conquer that. We're very proactive in that approach. So once we installed this, that's what we did first. Now we're seeing production from a place like recall notifications, for making sure that people who book on the web's appointments are confirmed. We even do human touch confirmations for appointments that Brooke books to make sure that the customer is coming in. Now we're doing other items like frequent oil change reminders, declined services. We're starting to see that production grow because of that. Yeah. So that's something that's really huge. And my call center is relatively small. We have an 8-agent call center that controls 5 stores. So instead of having to have a 20-agent call center to do all of these things, we have Brooke up front. We have the agents to fall back on to collect the rest. And, on average, our call center saves roughly 70 calls a day off each respective service lane. So imagine your advisor being able to concentrate on, selling service, writing an RO correctly, not forgetting that op code, making sure that the car gets cleaned up, and not having to worry about this customer's on line one wanting to know if their car's ready. We can answer that ourselves.
Yeah.
And you're centralized as well. I think that's very important.
Yes, that's right. It's right over here in this room, like right across the wall. Yeah.
Bree, if you want to speak to some of those things as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So while Brooke has, moved mountains for the employee side, I think that it's empowered our customers to be more aware of what's going on during their service appointment. I feel as if their confidence has changed walking in, checking in for their appointments. I don't know. I really do think that Brooke has played a pivotal part in that. Everyone seems to be more knowledgeable with the recalls that Brooke might let them know. Hey, do you want to get this performed? They're asking questions whenever they're coming in. They're asking the advisor, and they're asking to understand instead of just coming in and being told the information. It's a full experience now. And having been with Brooke for this long, and I handle the reviews and the survey comments for our dealership, I have yet, knock on wood, to have any negative feedback on any platform where the customers are just, oh, Brooke, she really does make it easier for our customers. And for that, I am so grateful. I like that our customers are feeling empowered in their experience. And I love that our employees are able to branch out and, harness the energy that we have to do bigger things, like Micah was saying.
Can I add one more thing, Mike, if I can?
Sure, absolutely.
Quick. A takeaway that I got that you started off with at the very beginning of our conversation today is how you got the buy-in from the organization and how you did that early, and some of the ways you framed that. Okay. I thought that was brilliant, because there are a lot of people watching today who oversee multiple dealerships, Tiffany, right? And they're saying, well, how am I going to get the buy-in? Because I've got all these general managers that I got to get to, to buy in before we do something, even if it is or isn't centralized. Mike, I like that you did that.
And I don't want anybody to get confused that listens to this, or is hearing this now. There's sometimes where we still run into bumps in the road. Nothing is perfect, but the fact of the matter is when we started this journey, and it's just like when you partner with any company, like we had communication the entire way through. Like the general managers of these locations, the service managers of these locations, they all knew when their onboarding calls were. They knew what the plan was. They knew what they were paying for. They knew all of these items, so there were no surprises. I get calls all the time now from, well, how did you do this? How did you do that? And they're the C word that none of us like to say. Communication is really what it all came down to. And just to piggyback off what Bree said, I mean, our OLMs are very in the weeds every day trying to make sure customers have the best experience. You should go to Nissan of Cookeville's Google page. They're one of the highest rated Nissan stores in the entire country. And that's saying something considering the fact that we have a technology now that can help take care of their service appointments. So it's huge.
Tiffany, this is great.
Yeah, it's a great group.
It's very refreshing, everybody, to hear the success that you're having and how you've deployed it, how you've implemented it, how you've helped make it even better, if I may, okay, and how you've personalized it, Bree, to your dealership and your employees. And at some point, we're just a few weeks away from a new year, okay, coming up. We got to have you back next year, early next year,
Sure.
to get a follow-up. With Tiffany's permission, but just to hear how you're doing with Brooke.ai, because I can imagine there's going to be other things that you're going to uncover that are maybe unplanned today that are going to come across, and we want to hear how you're succeeding and how you're handling all that. So, Micah Rowland,
we'll be ready to launch SMS soon, so I can't wait to see what Bree and Micah do with that.
Okay,
we'll be back next year to share the new innovative ways they're using SMS.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, and feedback. Proactive Dealer Solutions has been awesome for collecting feedback when we have issues or need help with something. I've never had an issue with my rep picking up the phone, ever.
Never.
So that's awesome. Yeah.
Breeanna Hodge and Micah Rowland with the Mike Rezi Group, Atlanta. Thank you so much for being with us today. I want to wish both of you and Tiffany, your family, and the Brooke.ai family a very happy Thanksgiving next week. And thank you for all that you all do for fixed operations and for the retail community.
Happy Thanksgiving, Ted. Thank you all.
All right. The Mike Rezi Group, everybody, and Brooke.ai here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.